Welcome back to the Monday Night Football. Arsenal at Villa Park. Tonight, 7:30 we kick off. The Gunners are ready. Let's check their head-to-head. League meetings, these, of course, 126. Villa have won 53, Arsenal 48, 25 draws. The betting, bookies none too generous. Villa at 11-10, Arsenal 2-1, 9-4 the draw. And the first to score, you'll get 6-1 on both Dean Saunders and Ian Wright, 8-1 on Smith and Campbell of Arsenal. Football coming up on Sky Sports this Saturday, the 2nd of January at 6 o'clock, third round highlights. On Sunday at 6 o'clock with the fourth round draw live. 9 o'clock, third round highlights. That's on Sunday again. And the Monday Night Football next week, live, comes from Loftus Road, Queen's Park Rangers against Swindon Town. 7 o'clock as usual we start. Lee Dixon of Arsenal and England, our guest tonight. They're looking in good spirits, Arsenal, Lee.
Yeah, obviously we're looking forward to the game, and I'm really looking forward to this. Obviously there's a lot at stake for both teams, and Villa being beaten in the sort of local derby 3-0, they'll want to win this game very much. The lads are looking in good spirits.
Ian Wright, who's made some headlines this season for the right and the wrong reasons. He's a character, isn't he?
He certainly is, and hopefully most of the reasons are for the right sort of way. He's been in the news a few times. Hopefully he's in the news tomorrow morning for a couple of goals.
Instinctive goal scorer. There's another one, Dean Saunders, who's due one as well. Villa were really flying when he was banging them in, but they've dried up a little for him, haven't they?
Yeah, that's right. I think obviously he likes to play alongside Atkinson, and the two look very good together. But you just look at both teams, there's some real quality out there tonight, and hopefully we'll get a good game.
Alan Miller, the reserve keeper, is it?
That's
a
right,
hire.
Yeah. Well,
he's looking for a club, is he?
He's got one tomorrow. He's playing the reserves with me tomorrow, so.
OK, let's join our commentary team, Andy Gray and Ian Darp.
Thank you very much. Splendid Christmassy type atmosphere at Villa Park as the two teams come out. Bit of mist around, but hot air blowers and a huge tarpaulin have kept Villa Park frost-free for this key game in a title race riddle that would need Inspector Morse or Columbo to unfathom. So unpredictable are the clues. Villa can go third tonight if they win. Arsenal, quite frankly, have been performing like Hollywood stars who've forgotten their lines of late. No league wins since November the 7th. So let's check on the two teams, shall we? First of all, Aston Villa, described as hopeless and useless by Ron Atkinson in the 3-0 Boxing Day defeat at Coventry. They take a gamble on the fitness of winger Steve Froggatt, who's missed 12 games with a mysterious leg injury. Last year's top scorer, Dwight York, wears the number 10 shirt in another change. Cyril Regis dropping out. Villa hope to have Dalian Atkinson back against Bristol Rovers in the Cup on Saturday.
One or two changes with 1 to 11, but I don't expect any changes formation-wise. The reintroduction of Froggatt suggests it will be a solid 4 in the middle, with Dwight York being given the opportunity to show what he can do, partnering Dean Saunders.
Well, as for Arsenal, George Graham says we must find a win from somewhere to get our season back on tracks. Tonight, they're going to try something different. The veteran David O'Leary makes his first start in the team since April as one of 3 central defenders. He may even play as a kind of sweeper. Ray Parlour returns in midfield. Those changes mean no places for the young winger Mark Flats and Anders Limpar on the bench again. Of course, Paul Merson, John Jensen and Lee Dixon, as you know, out injured.
Well, we know George Graham isn't frightened to tamper with his formation, and I think you'll find that the 3 big boys at the back will play as 3 centre-backs with no definite sweeper. But what's promising for me is that he's gone out also with 3 front men, so we should have an attacking game. And here's an interesting confrontation for you to look at tonight. Like Ron Atkinson's gamble to play young Stephen Froggatt to supply the ammunition for Dean Saunders. Well, his performance against the experienced Norwegian international Pal Lederson could be so important.
Yes, that's certainly one of the major confrontations out there. David O'Leary, 34 years of age, making his 708th appearance for Arsenal. Nobody down the years can beat that. And Dean Saunders, he needs a goal. None in the last 7 Premier League games. He'll welcome back Froggatt, certainly, as Arsenal get us underway in their change strip of yellow. Sean Teal getting in straight away. Be interesting to see just exactly how O'Leary is going to be deployed by Arsenal at the back. Villa have had a little hiccup, remember, of their own of late. Here's Ray Houghton. Now Ian Wright with a chance early on to use his pace and trickery, but shows too much of it to the reliable Teal.
I think what Sean Teal and Paul McGrath will find that Alan Smith will try and play himself in between those two as the front man, and it will allow Ian Wright and Kevin Campbell then to take either side of Smith. And I think Arsenal will be looking for Alan Smith as often as possible, and the other two front runners chasing little bits and pieces.
Arsenal have had some very good wins at Villa Park over the last decade or so. They've won 6-2, 4-1 and 4-0 here in some of the recent meetings, so it's a bit of a happy hunting ground for them, and certainly they'll feel their overdue a win. Parker. And Froggatt with an early chance to get the cross in. He had York waiting in the middle too. Arsenal get it away in the end.
Well, that was a great ball from Gary Parker, wasn't it? That's what they would have wanted to do, is get Froggatt in the game as quickly as possible. And I think he's just shown Paul Ederson that if he's not on his toes, it could be of a handful tonight.
Here's Wright. And he's given it away to Parker. Parler doing some good work in the midfield. And here's Winterburn. Parler once again. His first touch wasn't good enough. McGrath got there. Nice turn from Saunders. Staunton. Froggatt is out wide if he wants to use him. He's looking inside. Oh, and here's York in a bit of space in the penalty area. Can he find an angle? Houghton! And, well, Seaman had to be a bit sharp there.
Well, that was a super move from Aston Villa, wasn't it? 2 minutes gone, but they're already showing that they're right on song here. Staunton finds York with acres of space in the box. It just gets trapped under his feet a little bit, but he's aware enough to pick out Houghton, and that's a good save from David Seaman.
Well, Ray Houghton must have thought just for a split second there that his second Villa goal was about to arrive. He had to wait a long time for the first of them. Staunton with the long clearance, and that'll be meat and drink to those tall 14-stone Arsenal defenders. Once again, they've got Froggatt in here. Richardson's ball this time, but this time it just bounces out of play. That pitch, by the way, is in virtually perfect condition, but it might start to freeze up as the night goes on. There's no undersoil heating at Villa Park, rather surprisingly.
It is surprising, Ian. It's something we spoke about a lot last year at the club. But the way the pitch was last year, they couldn't really do anything about it. But already it's noticeable that Ron Atkinson has asked his team to get the ball to Froggatt as quickly and as often as possible.
Certainly Dean Saunders has missed the supply lines provided by this 19-year-old Steve Froggatt. Hasn't played since Sky Sports was here for that game against Blackburn back in October, when he came off at half-time. Villa admit it's a gamble, him playing tonight. Whether he lasts the 90 minutes must be very much open to question.
What he is, though, and he's a young boy, full of enthusiasm and very naturally fit.
Here's Parker, scorer of a spectacular goal recently at Manchester City. York back to Staunton, and Saunders closing in on here. This one laid back again into the path of York, and Earl Barrett testing Seaman again.
Oh, that's good goalkeeping again, but again it's another super move from Villa. And George Graham will be worried because they've opened up the 3 centre-backs. They're creating more space than really should. Little set up here. They don't clear their lines, and Seaman really has to be on his toes again.
Well, Villa have started as if they're trying to knock off the cobwebs and bad memories of that Boxing Day embarrassment at Coventry. Hillier trying to get in here. Noel Barrett going down, and referee Martin Bodnam giving Villa the free kick.
I don't think there's any doubt about this decision, is there? You see David Hillier's just a little bit late.
Noel Barrett, tribute to his fitness and conditioning is that he's never missed a league game in nearly 4 years for Oldham and Aston Villa.
Tribute to his performances as well, I would suggest.
Sure. It's been a very good buy. Dean Saunders. Houghton, not his best ball by a long chalk.
There's already an area that should be causing Arsenal some concern, and that's the left side of the pitch. I'm not just talking about Froggatt, but what you're finding at the moment is that Steve Staunton is enjoying an awful lot of space as well. And if Ian Wright's going to be the Arsenal attacker that's playing that right side, he really has got to watch Staunton as well.
Up goes David O'Leary. Here's Alan Smith. Lovely first touch from him to control it. Campbell breaking through, and Parler too. Richardson bringing him down. And Parler is going to need some treatment here, I think.
Again, this is just another case there of just Kevin Richardson just slightly late with his tackle. No real malice in it at all. She's going for the ball and it catches him quite a slow one, it looks to me as well, on the inside of the right ankle there.
Kevin Richardson, of course, you've probably heard, bidding for what would be a unique achievement, championship medals with 3 different clubs. He won one with Arsenal, of course, Everton as well, and hoping he'll do the same thing with Aston Villa.
And I know you'll tell me if anyone's got that distinction before, Ian, wouldn't you?
None. None. Unique. Well, that looks like a bad knock for Ray Parler. He's still in trouble with it. They've got Flats and Limpar, and this would upset Arsenal's planning for this match if they had to take Parler off here. Gary Lewin, the Arsenal physio, doing his stuff here.
Now just watch this now, it's Kevin Richards. Watch his right ankle. That's the one there. You see that? He just catches him, and over he goes on that ankle as well. That'll be one to test, though, Ian. I mean, it certainly does look like he stretched the ligaments in the ankle on the outside of that there, the way his ankle went. And that'll be a little test for Ray Parler. They'll give him 5 or 10 minutes to see if he can shake it off. But in all honesty, with the pitch freezing up and getting harder, it might just be one of those that has 10 minutes and it has to go off.
O'Leary with the free kick. Smith goes up for it. Staunton. Good ball. Dwight York letting Winterburn in. Here's McGrath. York again. Lovely tackle by McGrath on Smith. There's Teal, who has missed quite a bit when he was out of the side recently, including for that 3-2 home defeat by Norwich. Perhaps significantly.
Passing's going to be important tonight, Ian, because the pitch is definitely, even from where we're sitting just now, you can see the white frost just beginning to appear on it, so it suggests it's firming up. It's going to be very much like an Astra pitch, an AstroTurf pitch tonight, and that does suggest that people are going to have to look to pass the ball to people's feet. Anything a yard either side of players, they're going to have difficulty adjusting to it.
Offside here against Ian Wright. Ian Wright working very hard to reform his image. His publicity this season, quite honestly, has been about as good as Saddam Hussein's. Here's Hillier. And here's Smith. Leaderson aimed towards Parler, who's moving a wee bit more easily, but he's still struggling a little bit, I think, with that right ankle. Maybe he can run it off. Now Staunton for Villa. Played up to Saunders. That's good play from him. Parker, what can he make of it? Arsenal biting into the tackle quickly. Winterburn to right. And Smith just asked him a wee bit too much, and Noel Barrett needed no second invitation. Smith again, beating McGrath in the air, flicked on by Campbell towards right. Noel Barrett there for Villa. Pacey reads the game well, Barrett. With a real battle for midfield supremacy going on there at the moment, Andy.
Oh, definitely. I mean, David Hillier's a right competitor. He really is. And he won't be wanting to allow Gary Parker and Kevin Richardson to put their foot on the ball and stroke it about.
Parker has got some space here. He's got Saunders making a run through the middle and fails to find him. And this will give Arsenal the chance to counter. Right. He has Smith and Campbell in support. Villa men funneling back. And the momentum is rather lost. Arsenal haven't scored an away goal since that one you saw live on Sky Sports, Ian Wright at Crystal Palace. An alarming run. Here's Saunders. Ederson in very quickly on Steve Froggatt. Wants the throw-in, doesn't get it.
I think he's fortunate, Paul Ederson, that George Graham has picked 3 centre-backs, because what it quite rightly allows him to do is push as tight as he wants against Stephen Froggatt, not worrying about the space he's leaving behind, because one of his centre-backs can cope with that, Ian. And that will help him tonight.
Saunders trying to find a way through again. Right. McGrath was in very quickly. Hillier pushing it back, but to nobody in particular. Tackles coming in thick and fast. Here's Parker. Alton. And Barrett is not going to be able to keep that in.
I think there are just little suggestion of it. You can see it on your screens the way it's frosting over the ground. And it really is getting very, very slick out there.
Winterburn, Smith, Hillier. Back to Steve Bold, who's Arsenal captain for the first time tonight. Tony Adams currently suspended. And you saw the way there that Kevin Campbell just pulled up, searching for his balance, that maybe later on tonight every step could become an adventure. Remember, Birmingham City's home game on Saturday down the road was off.
I don't think there's any doubt that the way the conditions are going to get poorer and poorer as the night goes on, and that does suggest that defenders are going to make mistakes here. If defenders make mistakes, then the night just gets some excitement in the goalhouse.
Here's O'Leary. Giving this one away to Richardson. O'Leary gets another chance. Good ball for Winterburn. What all the sides have been struggling to find, those at the top, is consistency. Villa certainly haven't lost twice in succession this season, which is a pretty good tribute. Indeed, they've only lost 3 of their last 20 games. It's League End Cup. York trying to find a way through. There is none as Ray Parlour brings it away. Seems to be all right again. Back to Nigel Spink, who's now been at Aston Villa for 15 years, a survivor of their European Cup winning side a decade ago. Steve Bold. Winterburn back to the ultra-experienced O'Leary. Now Linnigan, who played against his brother, of course, when Arsenal played Ipswich on Boxing Day. Now this looks more promising for Arsenal. Alan Smith. Campbell and Wright waiting in the middle if he can find an angle for the cross. And the flag's gone up for the infringement.
Well, he got himself in an area, Alan Smith, there along with David Elliott, where he needed some help, and he didn't really get any quick enough. And he ended up just scrambling it away. But this again, look at little David Elliott. He wants to get in there, doesn't he? He wants to compete.
Alan Smith, who's Birmingham born, so he's playing in his home city. Started his career down the road at Aldchurch in non-league football.
A message for Peter Stokes to contact the Aston reception immediately, please. Peter Stokes, please contact the Aston reception immediately. Thank you.
Teal getting this one away towards Saunders. Villa, who had a couple of little early chances. Seaman making important saves on both occasions. Froggatt can't keep that one in, and Villa have just gone off the boil since that bright opening 3 minutes or so.
I don't think so much off the boil. I think Arsenal have organised themselves now. It just seemed a little bit as if a getting to know you little 5-minute spell they had, and they almost paid for that. But they look a lot better organised now. 3 centre-backs have got themselves together, and Carl Ederson has got himself a lot tighter to Stephen Froggatt.
Here's Campbell. Froggatt. And towards Saunders, who has Linnigan for company. And the throw was Arsenal's, not Aston Villa's. Andy Linnigan, who cost £1.2 million, but has been basically a fairly expensive reserve at Highbury. But he may get an extended run because with Adam suspended and Steve Bold is facing suspension soon as well, having gone over the top on the disciplinary points. Here's Winterburn. McGrath across to do the covering. Now Ray Houghton. And Dwight York. Steve Bold fighting in on the tackle. Bold in on York. Here's Houghton for Villa. Nice angle on that. It's aimed towards Saunders, who's got bags of pace, of course. Seaman read that well.
It was good goalkeeping, that really was, Ian. David Seaman was very alert to that through ball.
Linnigan and York together. And Andy Linnigan does very well. Not there. He's given it straight back to Parker. York, Staunton. Dean Saunders is on the far post. Took a deflection that on the way through. Houghton covering the ground. Now here's Richardson. Aimed long, but anything in the air, certainly the big Arsenal defenders are going to be favourite for.
Well, you're sure they would be favourites for aimless balls, and I think if Villa are going to throw it into the box, and they've got to be accurate. York and Saunders will depend on that accuracy for any success they may get.
Saunders there on the near post. And he took a deflection too on the way through. And David Seaman, who played for Villa's big city rivals Birmingham City earlier on in his career, of course, as did Nigel Winterburn. Well, he was on Birmingham's books, Winterburn, anyway. Never got a game for them. Not in the league, anyway. Froggatt does well. No foul, says referee Martin Bodnam. And here's Wright chasing through, and Spink very quickly off his line.
First real little threat from Ian Wright, wasn't it? Little slanted ball, little diagonal run, and Nigel Spink just had to be on his toes there.
You've got to say that Ian Wright's been a great buy for Arsenal, even at £2.5 million, with 35 goals in 50 league games. Despite his brushes with officialdom in between times, he's established himself now as Alan Shearer's England partner too. Villa have got their defenders forward here, Teal and McGrath. As Staunton takes the free kick, and Seaman, well, it was catching practice for him.
He's got better quality than that, Steve Staunton. He won't be happy at all with his delivery there. Neither will his two centre-backs, who just sprinted 60 yards up the park, only to sprint 60 yards back down it again.
Talbot wins the battle with Smith, but not with Leaderson. Johnson again aimed towards Dwight York, and David O'Leary showing all his experience. Incredible to think that David O'Leary was around in the Arsenal class of youngsters like Frank Stapleton and Liam Brady that long ago. Made his debut in 1975. He's been a real ambassador for Arsenal.
One or two of us made our debuts in that year, you know, in English football. Won't name any names.
I guess you played against him a few times. Richardson is not happy, but the free kick will be Arsenal's.
I think he made a meal of it, Alan, but I think there definitely was some contact there, wasn't it, from Kevin Richardson? This is a threat, though, I feel, this area. They've certainly got the advantage on height. If they took the three big centre-backs up, along with Alan Smith.
And towards Linnigan on the far post.
I mean, he should do better than that, Ian, in all honesty. Andy Linnigan against Dwight York should be no contest. That's what I mean. If they've got Dwight York marking a guy who's got 6 or 7 inches advantage of him, then Andy Linnigan really should do better than that, than be beaten.
He's only had 30 Arsenal appearances in his 2 years plus at Highbury. Linnigan winning it, and McGrath. In comes O'Leary. Staunton with the free kick. Indeed, it was meat and drink for those Arsenal defenders.
Well, if it's straight, it's got to be better, Ian. It's got to be fed into the two front men who, as we've said before, are giving away inches to the centre-back. So if they're not going to play it straight and long, there's got to be a bit of quality into the pass.
Saunders, no foul by Linnigan. And O'Leary up towards right. Here's Smith. Hillier lets it run intelligently. Winterburn has bowled overlapping. Next to go inside, and it's a cul-de-sac there. Game you feel needing somebody to just put their foot on the ball in the middle of the field and knock it around, but the pace is so frenetic that it's very, very difficult for anybody to do that.
Well, it's a credit to both teams in that when they've lost the ball, Ian, when we talk about pressurising the ball in football, as soon as one of the teams has lost it, they ain't half put the other side under pressure, especially in the midfield area, and that's why players aren't getting time.
Robert doing it well there with Leaderson. And Ray Parlour was across there with his rock star's haircut, unmistakable figure. He is scrapping away again in typical fashion. Comes out to Winterburn. Now Saunders. And Linnigan going straight through on him, and is Marvin Boddenham here going to reach for the yellow card?
I don't think there's any doubt. They've ridden their good fortune quite a lot early on. Andy Linnigan and Steve Bold in particular have let the Villa attackers know that they're around. You see there, Saunders just plays the ball away. It's not a bad tackle, but he's late and he's come in behind the defender. And I think Martin Boddenham has just said, OK, I've let you away with 1 or 2 between yous. I'm now stamping it out, and hopefully that'll be the end of it.
That's been an increasing problem, of course, this season. Defenders coming in from behind, hard like that, and right through players. I've seen worse ones than that, mind you. McGrath. Richardson knocks it on, hoping that Saunders can get there. He can't. Houghton in towards Saunders. It's Ray Houghton again, who had drifted into an offside position on that far post. That was a better idea, though, from Aston Villa.
Yeah, you just see how, and then his hand goes up there, and the two of them, in fact, Gary Parker as well. And Arsenal are very good at holding a line like that.
Andy Linnigan, not forward. Easy for Sean Teal. Was that handball by Parler? No, says the referee. Chase for right, but Staunton's got a bit of pace too. And it goes for the goal kick. Aston Villa 0, Arsenal 0 after 25 minutes here, and not too many chances. A couple early on for Villa, who are looking to sneak back up into third place after their Boxing Day nightmare at Highfield Road.
Yeah, apart from that initial 5 minutes, it has been a case that really, at the moment, defence is most certainly on top. But it's only going to take a goal to open this game up. I really do feel that.
Now Saunders, there is a bit of space this time. Parker's making a run for him. And Saunders goes backwards, and just the impetus just lost for a moment. In goes Earl Barrett. Villa have it back again. Parker.
It's going to be hard for Villa to probe little balls through the centre of the defence when the three big centre-backs have now got themselves more organised. I would just like to have seen Villa spread the ball wider a little bit earlier in that attack.
David Hillier's had a spot of treatment. He just went off to the sideline for a moment. Seems to be okay again now. Here's Houghton. And a real old scramble for the ball there. Very difficult for Aston Villa to break Arsenal down tonight with the three big central defenders and two full-backs as well, who are pushing forward when they can, but basically they're there as defenders.
I think what's the difficulty as well is that, as Lee Dixon said in the studio, that Arsenal have come here to get something in. I think that's the important thing. Not necessarily to win the game, but they've certainly set the stall not to lose the game tonight.
They've just got 1 goal and 2 points from their last 6 games, Arsenal. And before that, they were on a run of 6 Premier League wins, and we were all saying Arsenal for the Championship. They'd gone top with their last win, which was against Coventry on November the 7th. Stuart Houston, George Graham's number 2 there. I would think so far Arsenal will be a lot happier than Villa.
They'll be pleased. I mean, the job at the moment is going very well from Arsenal's point of view. They've restricted Villa in goal-mouth incidents, and that's certainly what they'll have set out to do. But in this game, there's such a long way to go.
Only 2 shots so far, and both of them from Aston Villa earlier on, and both saved by David Seaman.
I remember on Sky Sports earlier in the season, we watched Arsenal go to Liverpool at the same kind of time. Things were going against them. Went there, gave a very professional performance, and got a fine victory.
Well, I don't think Ron Atkinson was ever under any illusions about tonight's task. I think they knew that this would be a difficult one. Leaderson's cross. Campbell closing in on it with Spink, who doesn't get there. And he was being pushed, the goalkeeper, according to the referee.
I can't see any problems with that. I think Kevin Campbell is looking to jump into Spink. I'm not so sure he's looking for the ball there. He goes up very early, you see that, and goes past him. Just catches his arm, just drags it a little.
Not a lot of contact there, was there?
No, but you know in that situation, you don't often see strikers get away with that.
Dwight York. Richardson feeding it out wide to Froggatt, who hasn't had too much service. Quality of the cross not good enough. Campbell. It's a great play from him. It's easy for Gary Parker. Arsenal really waiting for Kevin Campbell to flourish in the way that so many predicted he would do. call from Barrett either, and in any case there was an offside flag. So it's stalemate at the moment out there, and we wait for some magic from somebody to set this all alight. Dean Saunders, who had such an explosive start with Aston Villa, but just the one goal in his last 10 Premier League games. Here's Parlour. Good run from him. Can he find on the left foot? He does. And that's Arsenal's first shot of the night. And what have we got? Half an hour gone.
Yeah, a good positive run from Ray Parlour. It's part of his make-up as a midfield player to make these thrusting runs. It's not on his strongest side, he's left, and the shot doesn't really trouble Nigel Spinks.
Well, Ray Parlour is certainly not the kind of player who's going to be fazed by any type of occasion. He made his debut live on TV at Anfield and played a very good game as well.
Well, he took a huge part in the opening goal, if my memory serves me well.
Here's York. And that's gone for the corner kick to Aston Villa.
Try to think, this Villa's first corner, isn't it? Half an hour gone. I don't remember another one, Ian.
It's the first corner of the game, in fact, Andy. Kevin Richardson will take the corner for Aston Villa. Short. Houghton. And Kevin Campbell is back there. Froggatt, who's gone back into a defensive position for the corner. And Barrett. And Richardson can't control it.
I can only think something went wrong with that corner. It was obviously won from the training ground, the way they worked it, and got it to the edge of the box, but then it just seemed to just fizzle out when Ray Houghton got the ball.
Bold. Picks up right through on, does he? No, right, couldn't see it coming. He's got a wry smile on his face about that. He says, well, it was the right kind of ball, but what could I do?
It's a pity, because it was a very intelligent run from him.
Saunders scrapping away with Steve Bold. Big defender wins it. And as if there wasn't enough problems for the midfield players, now the referee's in the way. Alan Smith. Here's Campbell. Right waiting in the middle with Alan Smith. Leaderson with the cross. And Earl Barrett getting a lot of distance on his header. Staunton and Froggatt and Leaderson in very quickly. Villa need to get Steve Froggatt in behind that Arsenal defence so he can slide in balls behind the defenders and in front of the keeper. Those are the kind of balls that Dean Saunders really thrives on. Now Campbell, maybe something for Arsenal here, is there? Not a good enough ball, it was easy for Earl Barrett. David O'Leary with the interception. Now Houghton. Richardson. Barrett again. Is there a way through for Villa? They're going square, but they're not hurting Arsenal at the moment. Houghton. Retaining possession, probing, good run from Parker, showing up, Froggatt. Another chance, Richardson. And Leaderson wins it for Arsenal. Saunders has showed too much of it to Parlour. And it's like trying to find a way through a thick equatorial rainforest for those Villa forwards. There just seems to be no way through it all.
Well, it's very much a game of patience, and when you see that style in the first half, you can tell the big man ain't too happy with the way things are going. He likes to stay up there the whole of the first half if he feels things are going well, but big run comes down, you can sense he's unhappy with one or two things.
Villa bidding this season for their first championship since 1981, the year before they went on to beat Bayern Munich in the European Cup final. Famous days indeed. And there are hopes around here that maybe this side will be good enough to repeat certainly the championship win. But they've just had a bit of a hiccup lately, and they're looking to rebuild their confidence. An early goal would have done wonders for them here, but it's proving a frustrating experience. Saunders to York. Villa, of course, having to try to unlock Arsenal without the talents of Daly and Atkinson, and York asks too much of Richardson.
That's a pity though, because it's one of the few times that Villa have managed to get the ball into a wide area with a man's free. And Dwight York's pass was just a little too fierce for Kevin Richardson to deal with. But he got himself in a good position, the skipper.
There's McGrath, won by O'Leary. He must be quite enjoying himself back there. He hasn't been asked too many serious questions so far on his return to the side. Could appear as a sub against Ipswich on Boxing Day, O'Leary. Staunton hit long towards Saunders, who couldn't control it. A reminder about some of the football we have coming up on Sky Sports. Top line, of course, all the way. An FA Cup third round special. Highlights of a top game next Saturday at 6 o'clock. Make a date for that. And on Sunday at 6:30, the draw for the fourth round live on Sky Sports. And on next Monday, it's Queen's Park Rangers against Swindon in the third round of the FA Cup live. That should be a cracking match. Here's Wright. Staunton for Company, who wins the battle. Arsenal get the corner.
This will be a test for Villa. As I said, I do feel that aerially they do have an advantage, Arsenal, and if they can get it right, then they should get some joy from set pieces.
Those big defenders have come forward. They've got a lot of height there. One of them there is Linnigan. It was McGrath who got it away for Villa.
What I found quite strange there, Ian, was one of the big lads I would have expected to be in there, David O'Leary. He just sat at the edge of the box. I thought David was a certainty to go in there and make his presence felt.
And the goals from David O'Leary really are rarities. He's only got 10 league goals ever in those 17 years I was telling you about.
That's consistency for you. Half a season.
Maybe he's due one. And it's given away by Houghton. McGrath, he's got Barrett making a run on the right if he wanted to use him. York was just crowded out. Staunton.
I actually think, you're looking at the way Villa are playing as well, I do think with it being so tight and packed in the midfield area, in the middle of the park with the three centre-backs there, I'd just like to see Ray Houghton in particular, who loves to go infield. I think we know that. I think he's just tend to do that too often and crowd things out. I'd just like to see Ray pull a little bit wider, and it just might create a little bit more space for Villa then.
Now then, here's Dean Saunders with a chance, and a great save from Seaman, who was out like a flash. Suddenly, Villa had opened Arsenal up with Saunders, and how Arsenal were indebted to their keeper then.
Well, he's looked good from the moment the game started. My first reaction was, he must be offside here. Linesman says no, but that's excellent goalkeeping by David Seaman. But I do feel sure, I'm more confident Dean Saunders would ask a bigger question than he did.
Corner kick, and Seaman is there again, and there was some pushing anyway. David Seaman, earlier on in the season, his form wasn't so great, but he's playing well now.
Well, after a couple of saves he's pulled off, this really is food and drink for him, isn't it? I just wondered though, as he was going in there, Dean Saunders, and the big man was coming out, would he just slipped it past him? He opted for power in the end, and Dave Seaman made himself very big and difficult to beat.
Well, Dean Saunders, that would have lifted his confidence no end if he could have put that one away. He is overdue a goal, but it goes like that for strikers. Sometimes there are barren spells, and then you get a glut again. And at the moment, it just won't go in. For the man, the Villa fans have made a bit of a cult hero of Dino, they call him, of course, around here. Offside here against Campbell. Now David Seaman, the goalkeeper, is certainly the Arsenal hero. Under 5 minutes to half-time. Villa 0, Arsenal 0. Dean Saunders with the best chance, certainly, a moment or so ago. Right. That's nicely measured for Parla. And Staunton gets in there very decisively. Good defending from the Republic of Ireland international back.
Oh, it's a great example of the opposite full-back in the back four covering the space in behind his centre-backs, and it was vitally important that Steve Staunton was in that position there.
Now Ray Parla must have thought just for a moment there that he was going to be through on goal. It's a good ball from right, certainly. Lenigan getting this one away. Here's Houghton. And Winterburn nipping in there. And Winterburn still got it. Arsenal's ball too. This is the £500,000 signing Paul Lederson in the team with Lee Dixon currently injured and working with us on Sky Sports tonight. Nice to have him along. I'm sure he'd rather be on the pitch though.
Bet your life away.
Froggatt. Nothing doing there. Here's Saunders for Villa. He's worked so hard trying to make things happen. But Villa are foiled again.
I never felt this was going to be a free scoring game at all, and I thought it was going to be very, very tight. When you look at the way Arsenal arrive at this game, vitally important that they don't lose it. I never ever for a moment thought they would see plenty of goals in the game.
Anders Limpar there on the right of the picture. Stuart Houston, the coach, directing operations. Now here's York. Good work from him. Richardson. And O'Leary on the stretch. Staunton. They're finding it hard to get any real width in their work, especially down the right-hand side.
See, it's just when the ball comes into this position here I was talking about, and you see Ray Houghton's right in the middle of the pitch here. And Nigel Winterburn just following, and really Paul McGrath's got no options here wide on this right side.
Houghton comes out wide now to try to retrieve the ball.
He launched himself there, didn't he? Nigel Winterburn.
He wasn't going to lose that ball, was he? Somehow. Earl Barrett with the cross. Saunders looking to turn, and an instinctive little turn and shot. Typical piece of Dean Saunders play. Is probably worth the try, but he was never getting over it.
I think that was the least favourable option he chose there. Stephen Froggatt actually made a good little run behind the fullback. He was open for a little stab ball through. that Dean Saunders is a goal scorer because of those things.
Teal winning it. Now here's York again. Nothing available for him wide right. On the bench tonight, Aston Villa have Neil Cox, the midfield player, and Stefan Feinlich, who came on as a substitute for Cyril Regis at Coventry. We don't have a conventional right winger on hand. Now here's Teal. Staunton. Low ball in towards Saunders, which may be more like it as far as Villa are concerned. They certainly didn't want it in the air to him. Staunton. Doesn't reach Houghton because Bold was there. Oh, Barrett goes in, wins it. Almost drops to York. Hillier hooks it away. And then Smith holding it up well and intelligently in typical fashion, playing the long ball, but Ian Wright had no hope of getting that in a month of Mondays. Well into first half injury time. Arsenal have been content in the main just to contain and frustrate Villa. Now York. Good run from him, and that must be a penalty kick, and is.
Well, would you believe it, Ian? We're talking there with George Graham and Ron Atkinson in before the game. And the last time Aston Villa had a penalty in the league was about a year ago against Arsenal, I'm sure. And a game at Villa Park. And George Graham says, I wish you hadn't said that, Andy, because O'Leary just committed to the tackle, the skill of York, he makes the most of it, to be fair, but there's no doubt that's a penalty.
And this is the first penalty in an Aston Villa match this season. Here's the penalty kick, and it's in. Villa have scored, and Dean Saunders breaks his long-running goal drought right on the break. I don't think there can be very many arguments about the penalty kick. And for Dean Saunders, it's his 12th goal of the season.
Yeah, no doubt. Quite emphatic, the execution of the penalty, wasn't it? Oh, what a time for Arsenal to lose a goal. Well into injury time in the first half.
It was virtually the last kick of the half. And Aston Villa get the goal. It was David O'Leary on his return to the side. What a very bad moment for him. But Dwight York took the initiative. Down he came. Dean Saunders put away the penalty kick, and Arsenal will have to do something a wee bit more offensive now in the second half. We'll have analysis coming up with our guests. And there's the half-time score. Aston Villa 1, Arsenal 0. Don't go away. The second half could be pretty promising.
Welcome back. Our Monday Night Football on Sky Sports, Aston Villa and Arsenal. Dean Saunders' penalty separating the sides. Lee Dixon, the Arsenal and England fullback, is our guest. Lee, you've sat in that dressing room so many times listening to George Graham. What will he be saying?
I think overall he'll be quite pleased. Villa started well first 10 minutes and put us under a lot of pressure, but I think the three centre-backs have performed quite well, and they've kept Villa outside the box, apart from the couple of shots they've had. And up until the penalty, I think go in at half-time and say, look, well done, we'll hit them on the break and get a goal second half. But obviously 46 minutes gone and the penalty does knock the stuffing out you a little bit. So he's got to pick the lads up, really, because they'll be a bit down at the moment.
You coped with it very well, but you have to say you didn't look like scoring, did you, in that 45? So you've got to find something from somewhere.
Yeah, I think there's a big emphasis on Ray Parlour to make some forward runs. He's good at that, and I thought he made a couple of runs first half. And Ian Wright made a couple of good wide runs, and hopefully we can get him around the box a bit more and sneak one or two.
OK, let's rejoin our match commentators, Andy Gray and Ian Dark.
Thanks very much indeed, Richard, and the comments of Lee Dixon as well. He was mentioning Ray Parlour. Ray Parlour does not appear for the second half. David O'Leary, whose foul gave away the penalty kick which separates the sides, scored by Dean Saunders, but Parler has come off and Mark Flatts has come into the side here. He's only 20 years of age. He made his debut this season against Sheffield United in September. He's been in recently, but left out tonight in the tactical formation that George Graham came up with. He might be the kind of player who can go wide and maybe pose some problems for the Villa defence. Certainly now Arsenal have got to chase the game a little. They cannot be as cautious as they were in the first half.
Yeah, they have to chase it slightly though, and they won't be taking any unnecessary risks to go 2 down. I mean, that would be the worst thing that could happen to them, was to lose a goal early in the second half. But it will be interesting to see exactly where Mark Flatts plays and who actually takes over in that central midfield area.
Aston Villa, who lost 3-0 at Coventry, drew 1-1 at Manchester City, and before that went out of the Coca-Cola Cup to Ipswich, so they've had a little run of 3 without a win, which in their terms this season almost amounts to a mini crisis, but they'll be well pleased with developments late in the first half here. They certainly had the best of that half and rewarded with the late penalty. Precious few chances. Villa 1, Arsenal 0. Dean Saunders in first half injury time, and it's Saunders who gets us underway at the start of the second half. Villa, of course, in their claret and blue, attacking now the goal to your left. Froggatt trying to get round Leaderson. And it'll be a free kick. While we wait for this to happen, David Livingston has some news of that substitution.
Ian, that substitution was forced on Arsenal because Ray Parler has gone over on an ankle that's twisted and sprained, and the doctor's looking at it at the moment.
So there was the injury to take account of as well with Parler. I thought that might have been the case. Here's Froggatt. Referee waving a good play on there. Froggatt still trying to rescue the ball somehow, but it's Hillier who comes away with it.
Well, it's obviously forced George Graham to change formation as well. They have now gone with a basic back 4 now, Ian. They've pushed David O'Leary. There you see him just winning the ball into the central midfield area. Mark Flatts is on this right side nearest us here, and Kevin Campbell, it looks to me, he's been asked to play left side.
And if you like Andy's tactical analysis, make a date with the Boot Room every Thursday night, because it's an absolutely fascinating programme. Andy surrounded by football boots and football personalities. Good show. Here is El Barrett for Villa. And here's Parker breaking through. Interesting looking lob that. And he's so astute around the penalty area is Gary Parker. It didn't quite work for him, but what a clever idea.
Well, he's always willing to try these things. But I think when we see this again, you watch the number 9, Dean Saunders. There he goes. Look at the amount of space he's got there, Ian, if he just rolls it across the penalty box. They must surely have scored.
Yes, I said it was a clever idea, but it wasn't quite as clever as finding Saunders on the near post. Villa have only lost a couple here at Villa Park in the Premier League, early on against Chelsea and 3-2 recently against Norwich. Now here's Flatts. Tiny, almost Elfin-like little figure, a lot of speed and trickery. Leaderson. He hasn't been able to get forward very much at all because he's had his hands full with Steve Froggatt. Villa's throw. So Arsenal's frustrations of late at the moment continuing, but they really have had a splendid time in recent years with those 2 championships, and they've been in the top 4 5 of the last 6 seasons. That was an interesting looking ball from Hillier, but Ian Wright was offside anyway. George Graham has now come down onto the bench to try to motivate his players from close range. An Arsenal manager now for 6.5 years. They've only had 4 since 1966. Play on, says referee Martin Bodman. Saunders was looking for the free kick.
You see the trouble players have got, though. That ball from Bowl to Alan Smith, only a yard off target. But Alan Smith had real difficulty in trying to adjust his position.
Seaman under a bit of pressure. I don't think that was quite what he intended, but it worked anyway.
Certainly worked.
Lenigan. That's a lot of time, and in the end, just about gets away with it. Villa pushing forward.
Well, I think with this formation they're up against now, it will encourage the likes of Saunders and York now to probe for little gaps in between centre-backs and full-backs. Gaps that probably weren't there first half.
In theory, for neutrals, it ought to be a better game, with one side having to chase it a wee bit more. Campbell is denied.
I think when that's the away side as well, it has to chase a game, Ian. You do feel the game will be more open.
Nigel Winterburn, who had a lengthy spell out of the side recently. Campbell hasn't figured an awful lot tonight, Kevin Campbell. There was some speculation that he may be the one to be left out this evening with O'Leary coming in, but he's kept his place.
I do feel, though, that with the Anders Limpar, the option on the substitutes bench for George Graham, that he won't want to risk him too early, having been forced to make a substitution at half-time. But what he will be thinking of, I'm sure, it's not natural for Kevin Campbell to be playing there. He's got a natural, gifted left winger. And it may be, as if the scoreline stays the same, in about 10 minutes' time, that we do see Anders Limpar thrown into the fray.
In which case Arsenal would be having 2 wide men, Flats on the wide right and Limpar here wide left. He has spent much of the season sitting in exactly that kind of place on a cold bench waiting to be called into the action, and he's not very happy about it. What impact, I wonder, can Mark Flats, the youngster, make? Winterburn with the throw for Arsenal, trailing by a goal to 0 here. This is hit long. Chance for Wright to use his pace, no, because Teal's there. McGrath forward. Away by Ball, but only to Houghton. Ray Houghton, who rejected Chelsea in favour of coming here to Villa Park after his move from Anfield. Useful player for anybody to pick up. This is Lenigan. Campbell, it's too long for him.
Now that's going to be an impossible ball for anyone to get hold of, unless it's right at the player. A ball played with that pace and that straight on this surface now. Everything's just going to skid away from anyone trying to chase it.
Of course, the rap against Arsenal that one has read a lot recently is there's not enough creativity in their midfield. What about that, Andy?
Well, I think you can afford to have a little bit less creativity in the centre of midfield. To be fair, they've certainly got some flair on the outer edges of it, and by that I mean in these wide areas. And they've got enough flair in Ian Wright. So I think that George Graham's obviously want to have a solid central midfield partnership and then produce another 4 players. He's 2 wide men and he's 2 strikers to get the goals for him. But at the moment, it's just not working for them.
Barrett there with a slip, letting in Campbell, whose first touch was not good enough and allowed too much of a chance for Nigel Spink, who was out to it very quickly.
Now, you can never, in football, stress the importance of a first touch. It is an opportunity in a game where Arsenal have had few and far between, but he's never going to be favourite to win that after he plays it that far in front of him.
Barrett. I'm just talking about Arsenal's problems. I've seen transfer speculation linking Arsenal with Andy Sinton recently, and indeed Roy Keane of Nottingham Forest repeatedly. In fact, just about everybody except Madonna and Bill Clinton, I reckon. But there's a lot of speculation. So far, no reality. Steve Gold, forced backwards. Lenigan out to Winterburn. Campbell is short for him. And Arsenal going nowhere fast. O'Leary. Very tight in there. Teal gets there just ahead of Alan Smith. Sean Teal, who was sent home last week with a stomach upset. There was some doubt whether he'd make it to the Boxing Day game against Coventry. He did. And it's been underrated, really, but I think people are now beginning to wake up to just how good he and McGrath have been in the main this season. Not necessarily at Coventry.
He's never been underrated by anyone. Even his manager, Ron Atkinson, has always had very high praise for him ever since he joined the club from Bournemouth last year.
Saunders, lovely ball here out to York. Parker making a run towards the near post, just holding his run, but the ball wasn't good enough from York. Winterburn.
Another difficulty that Arsenal have tonight, I feel, is that back four of Aston Villa's were a real rollicking off their manager at the weekend from that Coventry game. And they'll be very, very keen to keep a clean sheet tonight. And that's going to make it doubly difficult for Arsenal to break them down.
Here's Ron Atkinson, the Aston Villa manager. And Cox behind him, Neil Cox, one of the substitutes. And you see him before the end of the night. He's had a couple of outings recently. Saunders here is clear. Saunders one-on-one with the keeper, and again he's denied. And Lenigan completes the clearance. Well, Dean Saunders on another night might have had a hat-trick by now. Flats out to Leaderson. Now Wright. Arsenal need something special from him. And they do at least get a corner.
Well, that's as good a save as I've seen for some time. Again, there's a more space now for Saunders. As he gets in here and drills us, watch the right hand go up. That's instinctive, but brilliant save.
It really was a terrific save from Seaman, who's having an inspired night. That's the corner count so far. Here's the latest for Arsenal. Go the defenders, and almost into the net there.
Well, in a game where Arsenal chances have been few and far between, this must go down as a genuine one. He's claiming that there was a push on him, Kevin Campbell, but it caused confusion there. There you see Steve Staunton's right arm on his shoulder. Whether that was a deliberate push, we can't tell from the angle.
Might have had a point. Here's Dwight York. Good run from him. Saunders was screaming for it in the middle.
Yeah, well, Dwight York does the hard thing there very well. And then when he should be going across the goalkeeper, he makes it easy for Arsenal and drills it wide.
But he is starting to cause a few problems, Dwight York. His run, remember, that led to the significant penalty just before half-time. The Trinidad and Tobago international, brought here by Graham Taylor from a little club called Signal Hill. Carlton, more room for Villa to operate now. And here's Parker, offside, won't count.
I can't believe how late that linesman's flag went up there. And the ball was played, Parker had it under control, and suddenly the flag then went up. Let's watch it very carefully. There's the ball, flag's still not up, you can see that, and suddenly it's up.
Linesman Ian Madge with the decision there, and difficult to tell from those pictures whether it was indeed offside. Now, Paul McGrath is needing some kind of bandage put in there on the shoulder. I'm not quite sure what that is, but he's obviously got some kind of knock. And it's spilling out all over the Villa Park pitch, whatever it is. Any clues, Andy?
I haven't been. He's going off now. He's just have a little look.
David Livingston can reveal the mystery, I think, or answer it anyway.
Ian, it's a bad shoulder, and it was heavily strapped before the game, and just after half-time it all began to unravel, and he's been trying to struggle with it. You see it all coming out now, but it means obviously he has a painful injury which he's been playing through, but I'm sure Andy Gray knows more about that, about Paul McGrath, and how he can deal with that.
Well, let's just say there's no way he'll be going off. Paul's one of the old school, Ian. You have to carry people like Paul McGrath off the pitch if you want them off.
Well, he's supposed to have been falling apart with knee injuries for years, isn't he? But he still goes on and on and on, and playing in the main pretty superbly for Villa. It's given away by Ball to Saunders. Dwight York's in there if he can get the header in. Leaderson was there first for Arsenal. Danger not over yet. Villa looking menacing at the moment. Froggatt tackling away well with the big Norwegian. That's a nice turn from Hillier. Not a very good ball. Barrett read it. Saunders is away again. What can they work here? York trying to stay onside. Parker. And it all became just a wee bit congested, like the rush hour traffic. Pitch is getting a bit frosty, but it's still playing okay, Andy.
It is, but it's making passing difficult, and it has to be not difficult. All it's making it is if you're passing the ball, you've got to be accurate, Ian.
Well, Villa looking to protect that record I was talking about of never having lost twice on the spin this season, and in many ways that's what it's about, not letting defeats turn into long losing and barren runs. Consistency is what all those sides at the top are striving for, and most of them can't quite find it. But well, this is what George Graham, the Arsenal manager, says Arsenal have got to produce, and they haven't been doing it as far as he's concerned so far this season. Their season's a bit like a game of Christmas snakes and ladders. Up the ladder to the top and then down a pretty long snake at the moment. Leaderson. Parker through here for York. Is this number 2 for Villa? Seaman digging it out from underneath his feet. Makes the save, and he knows that he had a little luck.
Not a little luck. I think what he's happy about, this is probably his easiest save. It's a great situation for York. But what else David Seaman, it drills it straight at him. You have to say, though, had it not been for the big man in goal there, Arsenal could be out this game totally at the moment. As it is, they're still hanging on in there.
There's the shots on target. Villa 6, Arsenal 1. Villa are 1 up. Here's Froggatt trying to make it 2. York, nice turn, clever idea. And Dwight York is having a good game now for Aston Villa. And that's a bonus for them with Daly and Atkinson, for the moment, injured. Oh, Black's brought down by Teal.
There's a real danger of them being overrun at the moment, Arsenal. No complaints from anyone, I think, about that tackle. It's late. But Arsenal have really got to dig deep now, and they really have.
I think they're missing Ray Parlour in the centre of that midfield. There's a bit more space in there.
I don't think that's the case. I think it's a case of the back four. There are now more gaps for the strikers and the wide men of Villa to expose that they didn't have when there were 3 centre-backs in their first half.
Leaderson long towards right. There's certainly more room for Villa to operate with. Here's Houghton. Nice touch that from York. Richardson. Good challenge from Bold. York again, though. He's starting to play with a bit of a swagger. Staunton. And you can almost see Aston Villa's confidence returning by the second.
Oh, definitely. I mean, another goal, and you do feel Arsenal will be out of this game, Ian.
It's the corner count. Richardson to take it. Near post, Seaman gets there, drops down, and Teal got the shot in. Deflected for another Villa corner. Played short for York. Richardson again. Bold gets there. Hillier completes the clearance. Right, looks for support. How soon, I wonder, before Arsenal attempted to introduce Anders Limpar. Flats and Teal together. Now Arsenal have a corner.
Well, I think the introduction of Anders Limpar will be arriving very shortly. He has been warming up for the last 5 or 6 minutes, and I noticed that Stuart Houston has just intimated to him to get his gear off. So I would imagine his substitution is arriving any minute now, Ian.
Limpar is being prepared. Here's the corner. Bold went up at the near post. Another chance. Hillier driven low and hard, and that nearly undid Villa. That was a clever idea from Hillier. The variation there caught Villa by surprise. Parker breaking with Froggatt, but it was made easy for Lederson. Much better second half, as I thought it would be after that goal just before the break to open things up a bit. Free kick for Villa. Now it's a question of who comes off to make way for Anders Limpar. Don't think it'll be Hillier somehow.
No, I don't think so either. And you're right, he almost undid Villa there. Took everyone by surprise after that corner and drove that one low into the box.
Alan Smith. Now this is not a bad ball for Wright. I'm not sure that was McGrath or Wright who got the final touch. It was Wright.
Well, it was Wright, yeah, and he tried to do what Gary Parker tried to do earlier. Looked up, saw Spinks off his line and tried to lob him early.
Well, it is
both wrong.
Well, commentator's nightmare. It is Hillier who comes off. So both of the two men who were playing in the centre of the midfield at the start, Parler and Hillier, have come off, and we now have Limpar and Flats, the two wingers, on. But how will Limpar be deployed? Now he looks to be moving into a central role, or is he going to come out wide right here? Flats has moved into the centre.
Yeah, he's moving out wide right here. But I think he'll have said to George Graham, will have said to Anders Limpar, just go and get on the ball as often as you can and just try and make something happen for us.
Staunton. Villa with another wave of assault. York's made a very good run. It was a good ball too from Staunton, and York just lost his bearings at the crucial moment.
Well, I think another example of it, if it's a yard either way, you just can't adjust now on the surface.
Right. That's good. Now here is Limpar with his first touch. As it goes, Wright was nearly in there. Barrett got in a great header. Flats now. Limpar's first touch nearly created a goal. McGrath gets it away. Now it's Villa who are having to take the strain. Winterburn. Up goes Campbell for the header. Teal did very well in the air. Good turn from Dwight York, who's starting to mesmerise those big Arsenal defenders now.
But Arsenal have now got to take some chances, Ian, and that's exactly what they're doing. And when they do that, they'll always be vulnerable to a quick break.
O'Leary, it's out of play. It's out of play. But the man very much taking the eye in this second half for Aston Villa is Dwight York, the 21-year-old Trinidad and Tobago international, who was the top goal scorer last season, but has only made 4 starts this year. Apparently, his local radio station always ring up the local paper here every week to see how he got on, and they do a kind of radio program about him. They'll have a bit to say this week. Saunders chasing, Linnigan across. Staunton to Richardson. Looks in there again, and here's Dean Saunders. Is he quick enough? No. Seaman is there once more to deny the Villa man.
Oh, his movement today has been fantastic. Watch him again there, running into spaces, good positive runs from him. And again, it's only the condition of the pitch that denies him there.
That's offside, Dwight York. But when you see Villa in this kind of mood, Andy, you understand perfectly why they've been up there all season and why they're making a serious championship challenge. Arsenal need to score their first away goal in the Premier League since early November if they're to rescue anything from this. They've just got out of the habit. Maybe this is the man to change things for them. Limpar up to his fellow Scandinavian Leaderson. Now the youngster, Platz. Teal again biting in with a challenge on Smith. Those two both former internationals at semi-pro level for England. Limpar and Platz. Campbell and Platz. Leaderson. Limpar. That's a nice run from him. Looked more menacing somehow from Arsenal. That was a bit more thoughtful. There are many Arsenal fans who feel that Anders Limpar should be a fixture in the side, but the thing he lacks as far as George Graham is concerned is consistency of performance. Fair to say he hasn't been the management's favourite blue-eyed boy this year.
Well, but when he's been called upon at times this season, he has risen from the bench and given some tremendous performances and turned games Arsenal's way, and that's certainly what George Graham's looking for him to do tonight. And at 1-0, that's another thing that's keeping them going, the Arsenal players. Only 1 goal in it.
Limpar long towards right. Earl Barrett earning the applause of the Villa Park faithful for that piece of work. Steve Bold took a knock as he went up to win that header. Platz. And right here is onside. Up against Teal, and he showed too much of him, and that's what Teal was waiting for and got in.
I just wondered if there had been a little bit more pace on the ball, and he didn't have to really check his run a little bit there and drag it in there. It just might have got away from Sean Teal, but that's good defending from the centre-back.
Arsenal's corner is taken by Limpar. And a header from Linnigan.
That's not a good header from Big Andy Linnigan, it really wasn't. Completely unchallenged, only 16 yards from the goal. You at least got to head it in the general direction of the goal and hope that one of your teammates might get a little touch on it.
Apparently the reason for Hillier's substitution, you and I are off the hook here, Andy, is that he was injured. He took a knock on the knee, so it wasn't tactical. And he's sitting in the dressing room apparently at this moment with an ice pack on it. And I hope he'll be fit for Arsenal's next away game, which is at a place called Yeovil in the FA Cup. Yeovil will be hoping sincerely that Arsenal's barren run continues there.
Well, that will be a different kind of test for the Arsenal, won't it?
very different. They don't have the old slope anymore. Now Villa looking to create something more. Houghton and his offside. I think it was Saunders who was called offside. Not a lot in it, but the referee wants to have it played on anyway, quite sensibly, as David Simon had that. Teal beats Smith in the air again. Leaderson knocks it back in. Lots of time for McGrath. And it's another of those games of head tennis until Campbell does a bit of pushing on El Barrett, which the referee was perfectly placed to see. Villa are going to make a substitution here, and it's Steve Froggatt who is coming off. It was a gamble to play him, but he stood up pretty well. But they're not going to take it any further.
Neil Cox is the one coming on in, yeah. No surprise, I'm sure he'll play right side, and Ray Houghton will come over to the left side and play there.
It's 21, Neil Cox, Scunthorpe lad, who made 17 appearances for his hometown team before his move to Villa.
That'll be a little bonus for Ron Atkinson that Stephen Froggatt's lasted 75 minutes of this game.
Ron Atkinson will be happy enough with things at the moment, though he'd like, I'm sure, the cushion of a second goal. Richardson plays the 1-2 with Parker. Here's Staunton. Well read by Linnigan. Leaderson. McGrath with the classy header for Teal. And Teal with the not so classy piece of distribution. I think, to be fair to him, I think his stud kind of got caught somehow. He was looking at the sole of his boot anyway.
Players always do that when they make a mistake. Look down.
Winterburn. What can Arsenal come up with? O'Leary has given it to Richardson, and here's Dwight York. Saunders and Parker for company. Here's Parker now.
The pass didn't give Gary Parker much of a chance there from Dwight York. Needed to be a better ball than that when he had the Arsenal defence stretched.
Down the years, Villa have had the better of the meetings between these two clubs. They lead 53-48, and here's Saunders again. Nice turn from him. York was there waiting in the middle, didn't quite get through. Now, little Anders Limpar prepared to run the Villa defenders. Certainly something different for them to contend with, and Arsenal needed something different. Ian Wright. Good turn. Cross towards the far post. Smith had pulled away, but just not the angle he was looking for on that cross.
No, it's a pity for Ian Wright, because he does ever so well there. Trick Sean Teal, goes to feint. He's now round the back. Alan Smith pulls to the back post. He's in that free area, but the cross is just a little bit too much.
Well, he's averaging about 2 goals every 3 games in the league for Arsenal since they signed him. Hit the post against Ipswich on Boxing Day when Arsenal were endlessly frustrated by the East Anglian side, and we've seen how difficult they are to break down live on Sky Sports this year. And that's a lovely header that from Dean Saunders for Staunton. Houghton, another of the ex-Liverpool brigade. Richardson, York, Saunders, nice football from Villa. Dwight York again, holds it up cleverly. Lovely skill, and here's Staunton on his left foot as well. Cuts it across, and nobody there. It was just behind Dean Saunders, but wasn't that a quality move from Aston Villa?
Oh, that would have been a super finish, a super move. I just felt that Steve Staunton drives into the box. He's going to surely opt for a shot here. He does it, and he gets a little nick off Steve Cole, and it's away to safety. But they certainly opened up the Arsenal defence with ease there.
Terrific football, that, from Villa, and it was lovely to watch. Arsenal have 12 minutes to do something about that scoreline, top left of your picture. Winterburn with the free kick. Cox winning the header. Neil Cox, who's had a couple of run-outs in the side recently against Nottingham Forest and at Ipswich in the Coca-Cola Cup. Campbell, Winterburn. And O'Leary. Smith, better work this, and now Flats with a chance. And from there, he should at least have brought Spink into action.
Yeah, for one of the few times in the second half. It's just opened up a little bit. They played a good little passing movement. Matt Flats' first touch is good, but he just leans back, and that's the end of it for him. See, control is good. He just leans back on it there and scoops it over Spinks' bar.
No, that wasn't a bad little chance for Arsenal. Much more open in this second half. McGrath winning it for Villa. Limpar, does he have the key? Winterburn on his favoured left foot. Limpar seeing a lot of the ball. Was it McGrath is in there with the important header. And Arsenal now just beginning to push forward. Leaderson gave the ball away here to Dean Saunders, who takes it wide and waits for some support. It arrives in the shape of Richardson. And he holds his head in his hands. He knows that was not what the doctor ordered in that situation.
I know, it was good little movement as well between Gary Parker and Dwight York. Lovely little crossover. And Richardson just tried to roll it into Parker's stride, but was just a bit heavy with his pass.
Steve Staunton. And Dwight York has made something of that. Did very, very well indeed. Saunders. Cox. Can't reach it. Coming up on Sky Sports, another feast of football this weekend. A big game in FA Cup third round special, 6 o'clock Saturday night. Make a date for that. On Sunday at 6:30 in the evening, the fourth round draw live for the FA Cup. Be with us for that. And next Monday live, it's Queen's Park Rangers against Swindon. A good football match, more or less guaranteed, I would think, with those two sides from Loftus Road. And the last time we were there, we had that terrific match against Liverpool. If you haven't seen Swindon Town, they are very much worth watching. That's a nice layout from Saunders to York. Saunders has made a run towards the far post. There's nobody on the near post, though. Limpar.
But some of the Villa football in the second half in particular, against admittedly a formation that Arsenal have had to change from their game plan, really has been quite wonderfully played at times. The movement from the front too has been excellent. The passing into them has been a lot better. And certainly Villa have looked a far better side this second half.
Well, Arsenal at the moment are staring their fourth successive away Premier League defeat on the spin, having lost at Leeds, Southampton and Spurs. 3 games in which they failed to score, and it's the same so far this evening for George Graham, who certainly has his problems just at the moment.
I think what George will also know, Ian, is that if they lose this one, the 9th defeat in the league, and I think it's 1975 when Derby won the league, that a team has gone on to win the championship losing more than 9 games.
Offside here against Saunders. Sorry, Andy, you were saying?
You're saying no team apart from Derby in 1975 has actually won the league losing more than 9. And I think that shows you the task that the Arsenal side have if they lose tonight.
Certainly the Cups may look a better option for them. They'll try playing that around Highbury, I guess. They could, of course, rescue something here yet. There's only one goal in it. Arsenal have a throw. Winterburn. He's going to try the long one. Now there's Smith and Wright. Wait in the middle, hoping for something. Ball knocks it on, and I thought it was going to reach right on the far post.
Well, they get two important touches here, Arsenal. Steve Ball gets the first one. Watch the number 10, Campbell, the next one. But it just doesn't drop for anyone.
Good routine, that, though, from the Gunners. Cox. It's caught a bit late by Winterburn.
Well, they'll be happy just to eat up the clock now. Keep the ball in their possession, Aston Villa. I mean, he's committed to the tackle again, Nigel Winterburn. Can have no great argument with anyone there, can he?
Yes, the free kicks conceded. Arsenal 20, Aston Villa 9. Quite a big gap there. And here's one of the free kicks, which Staunton will take. Hard. I think for a moment there, he thought he spotted Seaman off his line. I'm not at all certain that wasn't a shot.
That's exactly what it was, Ian. There's no doubt in my mind that Steve Staunton's looked up here and then he's whipped that one. There you see Dave Seaman suddenly panicked there across his face. Thinks to himself, oi, what's happening here?
Well, that was really good, quick thinking by Staunton, and why not? Right here, Teal with the important foot in. Well, there are certainly people around at Villa Park who think Sean Teal might even be worth consideration for the England squad. Is he, Andy?
He's certainly very consistent, and if you're looking for consistency and a determination to defend, then certainly Sean Teal's got all those qualities.
Winterburn with the long throw. Can they work the routine again? Bold looking for the nod on. This time it didn't work. Villa take it quickly and sensibly. Saunders 2-on-2. Linnigan and Leederson against Saunders and York, but now more men are coming back, and Saunders just prepared to hold it up.
Let me guess who that tackle was from. Oh, yeah. He's fired up, isn't he?
There was no questioning the commitment, put it that way.
No, I mean, he's going for it. He wins this ball. The ball's just showing enough. There's no doubt it's exactly what he's going for, the ball. And if he takes a man well, he gets the ball in. All good and well if you're a defender.
It's a perfectly fair tackle. Played the ball. Cox. Well, he tried to make an angle for the cross, couldn't quite make it work for him. The youngster. Every step onto the Premier League stage is a big moment for him, just at this early stage of his career. How good a player is he, Andy?
He's got good ability, he's got good feet, and he's good on the ball, but he does need a bit more experience, and he's got to find a permanent position for himself, whether it be centre-back, right-back, or this right-sided midfield area. I'm not quite sure what he knows he's best at the moment.
That was Cox getting it wide to Staunton. And York, who's had an outstanding match for me. Staunton again. Houghton. York, of course, is playing for his place in this Villa side. Daly and Atkinson a fixture in the number 10 shirt, opening up maybe for Houghton here. And David Seaman was right behind it.
Good positioning from the goalkeeper here. As he turns inside there, you can see there's only one place, really, that Houghton can hit this, but the goalkeeper knows that and makes the save look very easy.
It's one way to warm your hands on a cold night, isn't it, Andy?
He should have hit it up here then.
He's a bit nippy, that's for certain. Players won't be. And Linnigan let that run quite well in the end. He probably got a little shot from Leederson behind him. Here's Limpar. Yeah, giving it away to Parker. Now Staunton. And York going down under the challenge of Linnigan, and the referee saying just play on. I saw nothing wrong there. Now Limpar has got in behind, and there's Limpar with a chance for an equaliser for Arsenal. Well, how costly might that be?
Well, Villa are fortunate that El Barrett was the one chasing them back in this situation. Limpard's got pace, but so is the Aston Villa fullback here. And you watch the pressure he puts Limpard under. He knows he's around, he takes that extra touch, and although he gets a shot, El Barrett put him under enough pressure to force it wide.
Limpard certainly would have wanted to hit that across the face of Nigel Spink, and in the end, it was into the side netting on the near post. Might that have been Arsenal's last chance to rescue a point here? Staunton, nice angle on it. Houghton was nearly there. There was an offside flag anyway. Platts, right pulling wide right. That's not too confusing. Leaderson. Platts again. And Leaderson are going to try the long throw. Time's beginning to run out for them. Dropping here to Platts. Not quite where he wanted it. And anywhere will do as far as Cox is concerned. And Villa at the moment, look at the clock. That's why.
Ron Atkinson will be wondering why his team, having created so many good chances in the game, are hanging on at this particular moment.
Could be a 5th defeat in 7 games for Arsenal. Unless they can come up with something very, very quickly now. And they might with Wright. Oh, and full-length save when it mattered from Nigel Spink.
Well, one for the cameras from Mick Spinksy, wasn't it? He can't really get any force in the shot. You watch the ball, he has to dig it out. Tries to spin it there. And that's one for the scrapbook, that. There you see it again, look, it's under his feet. Goalkeeper's height. I'll take that.
You might have got that one onto the back page tomorrow morning, I think. Here's Leaderson chasing back. We're into injury time. 50 seconds of it. Linnigan. Arsenal need to get it forward quickly, but not like that. It looks like Villa have got themselves back onto the winning trail. It'll be their first win since they beat Forest 2-1 here on December the 12th. If they can hold on to it. It looks like they're going to. It looks like they're going to move back into 3rd place and put that horrible Boxing Day result behind them. Here's Parker breaking into the box. Well, maybe all that public criticism of Ron Atkinson, hopeless, useless, all those other words he was using, maybe it's had the galvanizing effect that was needed, and it has. He'll be pleased. He won't be calling this one hopeless or useless. Villa are back in 3rd place. They've won. Dean Saunders gets the goal. It's his first since he scored against Ipswich in the Coca-Cola Cup. And his first in the Premier League since November the 1st. Dwight York had a stormer. He was the man who was brought down by David O'Leary here for the penalty kick. And after that, he played quite splendidly. For me, he was Aston Villa's man of the match, no doubt about it. Dwight York, the number 10. And Villa, just what they were looking for. But Arsenal, 5 defeats now in 7 games, and they just can't seem to put the ball in the net at all. It's Aston Villa 1, Arsenal 0. The crowd was 35,145. Very healthy indeed. And let's get some reflections on that now with Arsenal's Lee Dixon, who's with Richard Keys.
Ian, thank you. You're right, good crowd, wasn't it? Over 35,000. Plenty of smiles from Aston Villa, but Arsenal's Lee Dixon, obviously none too pleased. And that's the way it's been going for you, Lee, of late, isn't it?
Yeah, very disappointed with the result. I think overall it was a very open game second half, and there was chances either end. Just a shame Ian didn't get that one at the end. It would have been a nice way to finish the night, but I thought Villa played very well second half, knocked the ball around well, and just disappointed that we can't get a goal, really.
It'll come from somewhere soon, won't it? Bobble in and,
I hope so.
and start a roll again, but
yeah, it's looking like that at the moment. We just need to hit the back of the net. And when we do, hopefully we'll go on a run, but hopefully it'll be next week.
Plenty more to come on the Monday Night Football. More from Lee Dixon in a moment or so. We'll be looking back on this one, getting across one or two other results, and hearing from Andy Gray shortly again. Stay with us. Welcome back. Plenty more to come between now and 10 when we leave you. The match facts from Villa Park, 1-0 to Aston Villa. Close in the second half, wasn't it? Good deal closer than in the opening 45, as the statistics confirm there. The man whose goal won it for Aston Villa, Dean Saunders, is with David Livingstone.
Dean, you were looking at these stats there. Were you surprised?
I was surprised at the free kicks conceded, Arsenal, yeah, but at the end of the day, they're a physical team and hard to beat.
Well, you made the difference, and it was your first goal in 6 games, I make it. In that sort of mini drought, was there any worry in your mind that it had gone?
Well, you always worry, yeah, if you don't score for a while, and every season it happens, so you just get used to it. And when you get one under your belt, you know, really I should have won the game for us long before the end. I gone clean through twice and hit the 2 and really straight at the goalie.
The manager said before the game that Aston Villa hadn't been involved in a game this season that had a penalty in it, and all of a sudden there's a penalty. He said that you had even forgotten who was going to take the penalties. Was there ever any doubt in your mind?
Well, Ray Houghton's on the penalties, but he just walked past me and said, I don't fancy it. So he was looking at me as if to say, please take it. So I took it.
How much did you fancy it when he said that?
I didn't fancy it either, but, you know, Dwight York's an unbelievable trick. He does it every day. And you know, he does people for fun with that one. But it's the first penalty I've had since I've been here, so...
You mentioned the word trick there. I hope you don't mean it the way some people might take it.
No, he just drags it further than people think he's going to drag it. And
you certainly dragged this.
Yeah, well, I haven't been practicing them, and I've just tried to hit it as hard as I could to the goalie's right hand.
Did you pay any attention to the goalkeeper where he was?
No, I made my mind up where I was going to put it, and you just got to keep your fingers crossed that they dive the wrong way.
It's 3 points that puts you right on the pace there, just in 3rd place behind the leaders, and you know, it's a significant time of the year, it's the turn of the year, it's just past the halfway stage. Are you going to permit yourself the luxury of beginning to look at the league championship as an ambition now?
Well, I think we were starting to, and then after the way we played at Coventry, everybody's gone, oh, you know, we're not going to win anything playing like that. We were terrible, and we've come out today, and Gaffers give us all a roasting, and there's a big crowd in. It was live on telly, and we got Steve Froggatt fit again, which makes a bit of a difference to us. And we've played like we can play today.
So what's going to be the crucial thing then in the coming weeks that's going to make the kind of difference that you're looking for? Well,
it's winning these type of games that, you know, that Arsenal needed to win today to get back up there, and it was a 6-pointer. We've took 3 points off them, got 3 ourselves, and there's going to be more crucial games coming up like that, and we've got to make sure that we win them, or we come out with a point at least.
Well done, Dean. Thanks very much for talking to us.
Thought here's the manager, George Graham, with David Livingstone.
George, the fans were saying that it seems to be a bit confidence in the team. Is that something that you would agree with?
Well, obviously, if you're not winning and you're not playing very well, the confidence does go quickly. We've got a lot of talent here at the club, and I think we've got to work a lot harder, both on and off the ball. Confidence comes by winning matches, and winning matches comes from doing all the good habits during the week and take them onto the pitch. Today, I thought Aston Villa were by far the better team.
5 defeats in 7 games and now 11 points off the pace in the Premier League Championship. What would you say to people who suggest that that's Arsenal drifting out of contention?
Obviously, that's a fair assessment, but you know, the first thing we've got to do is try to get back to how I know we can play. Then if we do that, then we're going to be realistically starting winning games again. You've got to actually get the right things right first. You know, first of all, we've got to do the things which made us successful in the past. If we begin to do that, if we begin to become hard to beat, then we'll start getting results. And once we get results, we'll move up the league again.
Are you becoming frustrated personally?
I think you get a little bit frustrated when you see a lot of good players not performing to their capabilities. We have got a lot of injuries, and that's to very key players. We have got a lot of good players who are not playing to their potential. And when you get a combination of both, because the teams now, there's not a lot to pick between teams. Teams that are, say, 4th, 5th top are not much different from teams who are 4th, 5th bottom. Anybody can beat one another this year. We've just got to get our act together a bit more and hopefully then start moving back up the league. But we can play a lot better than we proved tonight.
George, thanks very much for talking to us. I know it's a difficult time. Thank you.